Hello, everyone. Welcome back today to episode 46 of my weekly Priestess Rise Up transmission. My name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm so delighted to be here with you. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time that you find yourself here, I'm delighted that your soul led you here. So every week we gather together to remember our divine mission, really. And today's episode is going to be specifically about that. It's going to be specifically about reclaiming your sacred mission. This is something that is incredibly essential to your life, to the future of the planet. So I've been doing this work, the labels I use right now are spiritual career coach, modern day priestess. And the work that I do, it's like it's taken years for me to really understand the 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 deep purpose of it. It's like I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help predominantly women. I knew that I was drawn to working with highly sensitive women. Then I knew that, oh, wait, these women aren't just highly sensitive, they're also intuitive. And there was like, it's like layer by layer over the past 14 years that it's been. Is that right? Yeah, 14 years. Since I left my regular job and to do this work, I've been on this journey of fully uncovering, fully understanding what is my purpose? What exactly am I helping my clients with? And so at this point here today, when you're watching this, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live here today, I recognize that I'm really here to as a way shower to help all of those individuals, not just women, although predominantly women are drawn to my work, to fulfill the sacred mission of birthing a new earth, of ushering in this next awakening of the planet, of midwifing the next golden age, however you want to call it, of healing the planet, healing the world, whatever, however you describe it. Like that's what it's about. And I really believe, for me, the word priestess encompasses that. And you don't have to use that label, but is that you have a heart's prayer and you've probably been aware of it since you were a child. I mean, not that you said, I'm a priestess. Maybe some of you did, but that you had this longing to help uplift, to help the world, to help heal, to, you know, help people who were hurting. It's like we came in with this divine mission, and the guide, the yes, the guide that you have to help you fulfill that divine mission is your soul, or we could call it your higher self. That is the number one essential guide that you have, that we each have. So it's not that when I work with my clients or students or when I do these transmissions, that I know the details of your divine mission, your sacred mission, that it's not that. But what I am here to do is to point you inward to your soul, to your direct communion with your soul, with your higher self, because that is who is actually leading you forward. Now, if it's that simple, right? It's like, okay, I have a sacred mission. Awesome. Yep, I'm here with a sacred mission. Now, please know that your sacred mission, I think, as I said earlier, ultimately, it's all the same, right? Ultimately, we're all here, if we're answering this call, to bring about unity consciousness, to heal the polarities that exist, to create the new blueprint matrix of unconditional love and healing, all of those things. But we each have, as you've heard me say many times, a unique medicine. So, hello, Summer. Hello, Diane. Hello, Claire, and anyone else watching the replay. So, your medicine will look completely different than everybody else's, right? Like, that's again, your soul knows the details of that. Your soul knows the unique combination of both professional training, but more than that, the life training, the initiations you've experienced to create that beautiful medicine that you have, right? So again, you have a sacred mission. Your soul knows how to get you there. That's very Simple. It's not complicated. But if that is so simple, then why do so many people struggle with that? And please know I'm including myself in this. I'm not saying that, oh, I've mastered all this. I don't struggle. Of course I do. Why is it? Why can it feel so challenging? Why do so many people, in particular, so many highly sensitive women who have such big hearts, who have such big prayers, who are so intuitive, why is it that so many of them stay stuck or stay in relationships that do not serve them and sometimes actually hurt them or abuse them? Like, what is the reason? And now there's multiple answers to that. One, for some of us, that's just part of our training. That's part of what we signed up for. Not to stay stuck, but part of what prepared us to be the leaders, for you to be the way shower that you are in this moment, is all of the challenges and struggles, all of that that led you to this moment. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, why is it that so many times it's hard to access our soul's guidance? Like, why isn't everybody just talking to their soul and saying, all right, so what am I supposed to do next? Oh, that, okay, great, let me go do it, because there's all of these things that get in the way, right? There's trauma from this and other lifetimes. That's like a real thing. There's trauma that can make it hard for you to listen to your soul's. Let me rephrase that. Trauma can make it hard for you to, first of all, trust that your soul is talking to you, or that your soul loves you unconditionally, that your soul cares. Trauma can make it hard. It's almost like it creates this vibration of static inside that makes it hard to hear our soul, right? So there's trauma, there's outdated beliefs. I mean, religion, unless you had a very unique childhood, many of us were raised, in religions that had all sorts of limiting, let's just say, ideas of how we can connect with the divine. And so we have all these outdated beliefs inside of us. Even if we know better now, there can still be parts of us inside that have fears or insecurities about that. And then, of course, there's programming, which, one of the dominant programmings in our planet is we that what we're looking for is outside of ourselves, that what we're looking for is external, that if there's something we are trying to achieve, then the way we achieve it is we take action and manipulate or shift our external circumstances. But the truth is that it all starts inside, right? It's an internal work. Now, that doesn't mean we don't take action steps. Absolutely. We are in a human body. We are divine beings having a human experience. So, absolutely, taking action steps is part of what we signed up for. The programming that we're undoing is the programming that keeps us attached to the external, and to forget that we begin inside. Or maybe you don't forget, but you leave that as secondary, right? It's like, okay, I'll take all these action steps, then I'll meditate. I'll cross these things off the list, then I'll ask my soul. Or, okay, I'm super busy this week. I don't have time, but next week I have vacation. Then I'll really connect with my soul's guidance, right? Again, all of that is programming. And so part of what we're here to practice, to be examples of, is to be examples of remembering that, of prioritizing this connection to our soul's wisdom and our soul's guidance. And so when I'm talking about reclaiming your sacred mission, that's what I'm talking about. Reclaiming, what does that mean? It means the vision that comes to me with that is, and we'll do this in our ceremony today, is imagine that there's this beautiful altar in front of you. And this is an altar. And what is an altar? An altar is a sacred space, right? It's a sacred portal Altars can be incredibly simple. It can be a rock, it can be a flower, they can be very elaborate as well. But in this moment, imagine that your soul has set up a beautiful altar for you. Maybe it's a white marble altar, and on that altar, there's this beautiful sword of light. Not a sword to kill, or a sword to destroy, or a sword to hurt, but it is a sword of truth, very much like Joan of Arc held, right? It's this sword of leadership. And what happens when we come into this life is we come in and we get amnesia, a lot of it. Not all of it, not fully, but we forget things. And it's not because there's something wrong with us. That's literally the heroic journey. Can you imagine that? That we agree that, okay, I'm going to go into this world and I'm going to forget that I'm a divine being. I'm not going to fully forget that I have a sacred mission, but I'm going to forget the details of it. And I'm going to forget that I have all the gifts and talents and divine support to fulfill that mission. And so when we talk about reclaiming, it's that we go to this altar that our soul creates for us and we pick up that sword. We say, wait a minute, instead of getting distracted with all the things out there, what's my purpose? What do I do? Do I do this? Do I do that? It's like we zero in and we're like, I'm going to pick up that sword that is my sacred mission and I'm reclaiming it. And if in this moment, I understand that there are many times in our journey where we don't have clarity, it's part of the initiation. As I said earlier in this transmission, when I first left teaching, I was a seventh grade teacher. When I first left that job, I didn't know when I left, I wasn't like, all right, I'm leaving because I'm going to be the way shower to priestesses who are here to, heal the planet. Nope, I did not know that. I was exploring. I felt confused. I was overwhelmed. I was scared that I would never figure it out. It was like a whole journey. That was part of my journey. That was part of my training. So in this moment, wherever you are with clarity, whether you know all the details or you know just a little of the details, we can still reclaim that sword that is our sacred mission. We can still commit to it. Because what is happening right now is that there is a heightened, like, it's almost like the alarm clocks went off cosmically, like globally. Like there's this alarm going off that's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. Priestesses, rise up, rise up, rise up. It's like not just wake up, but wake up, rise up, pick up your sword, not your sword of violence. Because remember, we live in this matrix and this blueprint that's inverted. That there's all these like inversions. The true meaning of a sword, the sword of light, the sword of truth, of nobility, of benevolence, of protection, of grace. Though that's the true meaning. So there's that alarm, wake up, wake up, wake up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, pick up your sword, reclaim your divine mission. And many of you know that in June I will be going back to Europe, back to Ireland, and then to France, to the southern part of France, really following the Magdalene, right? The Magdalene line, following the blueprint that Mary Magdalene, Ascended Master Mary Magdalene, left for us, right? Along with Mother Mary, along with other Ascended Masters like Green Tara and Kuan Yin and so many others. But Mary Magdalene's line is a very specific one. It's this line of lightning medicine, right? This line of piercing through the darkness in a very kind of like lightning bolt way. And of course, we know Mother Mary was one of her, great mentors. So Mother Mary is always there when we discuss Mary Magdalene. And so as I prepare for that trip, not just, yes, there's all the, kind of earthly preparations, buying my flight, getting the Airbnb, all of those things. Those are things I have to do, but it's more the internal preparation for me is that, having the courage to say yes to that trip right, has opened up my sacred mission. Like, oh, I'm getting more clarity about why I'm here. And as I get more clarity, as I pick up that sword, right, as I was like, the invitation was put out there, go to Ireland, go to France, take this trip. Now, that might all sound lovely and beautiful, and it is, but it was a challenging decision because of many factors, right? Finances, time was a big one. As many of you know, we're relocating, we're moving. I was born and raised in Chicago, and we're moving, we're selling our house. There's like thousands and thousands of steps I'm immersed in. The idea of traveling to another continent in June in the midst of all this seemed insane. And yet, that's exactly what my soul guided me to do. And I said yes, because despite all of the fear and all of the very logical reasons my ego gave me to say no, every time I went to say no, I could feel this tug in my heart, like, and so I listened to that. And so I picked up the sword of like, yep, I am reclaiming that part of my medicine. And that it isn't to say that I hadn't connected with Mary Magdalene before. Of course I had. But this is like a whole other level of like, oh, I'm connecting with the Magdalene line. Oh, I'm reclaiming that lifetime. That lifetime. I'm reclaiming that very specific, particular strand of divine feminine leadership. And I'm taking you all along with me, those who want to come. So, what I mean by that is energetically, although I wouldn't be surprised if I lead a retreat in one of those places, and then you can literally physically go there with me. But in the meantime, energetically, in the meantime, as I keep picking up that sword and saying, yes, beautiful divine, beautiful God, beautiful spirit, beautiful universe, yes, I am your instrument. Yes, I'm saying yes to that prayer that I'm praying in my heart. The prayer, as one of my teachers says, as that is praying me. As I keep saying yes, even when I'm shaking and trembling and doubtful and scared, as I keep doing that, then I keep being a way shower for all of my students and clients and anyone who's drawn to my work. And I help you pick up your sword in a courageous, brave, bold way, because that is what the world needs. It's like I've said it before, this lifetime isn't the lifetime of hiding. However, in this lifetime, there are many cycles. There are times when we are not out in the world. As many of you know, I was a teenage mom. When I was 19, I was pregnant. I had a child, and then I had four more very soon after that. It was like a whole, almost feels like another lifetime. So I was very immersed, right, in raising my children and trying to complete my college degree. I mean, that took me 8 years instead of the 4 years it was supposed to take. All of that. My life in that moment, on the one hand, felt incredibly big because being a mom is so huge, of course, but it also felt incredibly small because I didn't have time to like do anything else. It was raising my children, studying for my classes, taking my classes, raising like that's what the world was. And it was like part of my training, part of what I had to experience, part of what I signed up for. And now at this point in my life, it's very different. It's like come out, lead, be seen, be seen, be seen. And it's the same for you. And when I say it's the same for you, please do not misunderstand. I don't mean that it'll be the same details as my life. It will look different for you. And that's perfect. However it is for you is perfect. There's no competition, there's no comparison. Yours could be in front of people, yours might be more behind the scenes, yours can be talking to 1,000 people, yours might be talking to smaller circles. However it is absolutely fine. But the point is that we pick up that sword, that we reclaim it, that we say yes. And so that's the purpose of everything that I do, is to be part of that divine alarm, right? Divine wake up call to everyone. Like, oh, that's right. I do have a sacred mission. and the world is waiting for me to say yes. And maybe you've already said yes, and there's always more yeses, right? That's the thing with our spiritual journey. It's an ongoing, ever unfolding journey. There's no arrival. You know, once we finally merge with the divine, once we've already ascended masters. But here in the human earth plane, there isn't an arrival. There's a yes that we say to our soul, and then there's the next yes, and the next yes, and the next yes. And when we say yes to our soul, the path gets revealed. And sometimes, part of the training for us on this priestess path is that often we have to say yes. We're being called to say yes before the safety net appears. So, just to use this trip as an example, I could have very easily, and a part of me wanted to say this, say, well, I'll go to France and Ireland if we sell our house before then. Or if I have this amount of money in my bank, then I'll go because then there's safety. I know I'm not risking something big. But that's not how it worked. It didn't work that way. And more that's how my life is. It's not reckless. I'm not talking about being reckless because your soul is not reckless. Your soul always guides you, and when it guides you to a bold decision, it's not a reckless one. Your soul just understands that that is the most efficient way to get you to your goal. And so I can feel and see all the miracles, the shifts that is happening in our lives, in this move that we're doing. And I know that part of that is a ripple effect of me saying yes, investing that time and that money into that trip. I'm not saying you have to take a trip. That's just an example. Because the world is going to be, people are going to be asked to take leaps of faith. And it's going to be very scary. And so there needs to be people who are leading the way, not because we're better, not because we're special, but because we signed up for it and we've done it over and over. And so we can help shepherd people. We can help listen. We can be sacred mirrors. We can create sacred space. We can reassure. We can hold a vision because we've practiced it. We're in integrity. There's been so much that has unfolded in the last 3 years. And I know that, particularly in 2020, there was, for many people, these dark nights of the soul as everything was unfolding with the world. And, for many of us, it's not that it wasn't, of course, it was hard and challenging and all of the things. But what got activated for me was leadership. I was like, oh, this is what I've been preparing for. I've had many dark nights of the soul in my life. Many, 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 many. So when humanity as a collective was having a dark night of the soul, I could have a lot of compassion. And it was also affecting me differently because I had a lot of them. And I understood, oh, this is what we've been preparing for. And so when you're asked to reclaim your sacred mission, when you're asked to take action based on your soul's guidance, to have faith, to take quantum leaps, we're doing it for the collective, not just for us. And so let's step into our ceremonial space, into this altar that your soul has been beautifully setting up for you as we've been having this discussion. And so I invite you to, actually, what I'm being reminded of, remember also that Friday is a full moon lunar eclipse. We had the solar eclipse last week. So we're in that eclipse portal. This is a very, very charged time. There is quite literally a temple of healing that we're all in. And the more loving you can be with yourself, the more you can give yourself permission to be with your soul, to receive from your soul, the more you can ride the wave of this eclipse portal, because eclipses can really catapult our journey, can really come in and like just kind of flush out like whoosh, what isn't necessary, what we don't need anymore. And we can get scared, be like, no, don't flush it out, I want this. But your soul's like, no, let it go, flush that out. And also can really, what am I trying to say, bring those golden doors of opportunity. But if we're too distracted, if we're too caught up with the external, if we don't even just have that prayer, like, show me soul, like what is it that during this eclipse portal I'm being guided to do, we can miss it. And it can feel like an incredibly bumpy ride. So as we step in now, let's step into this beautiful ceremony. Let's step into this beautiful altar that your soul has created for you, and this beautiful portal, eclipse portal. And whenever you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, just know that whether you're watching it during an eclipse portal or not, the power of that time is woven into this transmission. And so let's close our eyes as you take some nice cleansing breaths. And as you focus on your breath, take a moment to focus on the earth. Bring your awareness to your hips and your knees, your ankles, your feet. See those beautiful roots of light going down your legs and out the bottoms of your feet, deep, deep into the heart of the earth. Knowing that the earth is so delighted that you're connecting with her so intentionally right now. And as that happens, you can allow your soul to help you flush out any excess energy, any heaviness, any old programming, anything that your soul is like, oh, you don't need this anymore. And so your soul can do that now, knowing that the earth will compost and recycle whatever we release. And then breathing in this beautiful energy of alignment and flow. Let it move through your whole body all the way to the crown of your head. And then bring your awareness to your heart, and you can bring the palms of your hands over your heart center as I'm doing now. Or you can relax your hands and just bring your awareness there. And then notice that at your heart, there's a beautiful white flame. And this beautiful white flame radiates this beautiful path in front of you. And see yourself on that path. And you notice when you look at your feet that you are on a marble path. Your feet are bare, touching this beautiful marble floor. And you look around and you recognize that you are in a beautiful altar. You're in a beautiful temple, excuse me. And you're in this beautiful divine temple of your soul. This temple is filled with grace, with space, with love. It's filled with light. And it's so filled with light, it doesn't hurt your eyes, but at first all you see is this pearlescent, golden white light. And you know that this light is activating your chakras, your meridians, is cleansing your aura, is raising your vibration in a beautiful, gentle way. And so you're just letting yourself be there in this temple that your soul has created for you. And then right in front of you, you start to notice the outlines of a beautiful altar, this marble altar. You start to recognize it, you notice it there. And at the center of this altar, there's a shiny, sparkly thing. You're not sure what it is. It's lying there on the table. And as your eyes get accustomed to this light, as they get accustomed to the light, you start to recognize that there is a beautiful sword of light lying on that table. And you recognize the handle of this sword has particular crystals engraved that are just for you. Notice what those crystals are. Notice the colors of the crystals. Notice how many there are engraved, etched into the handle of the sword. And you can hear your soul speaking to you in your heart saying, this is your sword of truth. This is your sword that represents your sacred mission that you agreed to before you were born, that you designed and agreed to fulfill. And you're drawn like a magnet to this sword. And if you choose to, because you have free will, we're not robots, we have free will. If you choose to right now, take the sword in your hand. And as you hold this sword, and perhaps you hold it with both hands, you hold that handle of that sword. Those crystals start to radiate. They start to pulse and vibrate in the palms of your hands. And it starts to activate meridians in your hands. It starts to activate these meridians that all connect to your heart. And as you pick up the sword in your hand, you claim, yes, yes, I am willing to reclaim my sacred mission. Yes, I am willing to fulfill this sacred promise that I made to myself. And feel your ascended master guides surrounding you in their love. If you do not feel ready to pick up the sword, that is okay. See it there and you can decide what you want to do. You can pray, say, if you want to be ready to pick it up, but you're not ready yet, you can say that. You can say, make me ready, or I'm scared to pick it up, or I'm unsure. Whatever is in your heart, state it and feel how the divine, how these ascended masters do not love you any less. Their love is unconditional. And so standing in the middle, either holding this sword or not quite ready to hold it, that is fine too. You're surrounded in this love. Receive a blessing from your soul. As your soul reminds you, you are an answered prayer. You are an answered prayer. You are an answered prayer. Go be it now. And so this temple starts to dissolve around you. You feel yourself back in your space, the earth underneath you. Your soul recalibrates all of your chakras and meridians to the appropriate calibration for your everyday activity. Your soul integrates this transmission across all 4 levels of your being: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, across all dimensions of time. You're back in your body fully. You're back in the space, and we bring the palms of our hands together and we bow to each other and our own heart. We end with a namaste. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. And I really invite you to continue to commune with that temple, right? It's a temple that your soul created for you. There was so much more that could have happened there. I could feel the crystals bringing in light codes and bringing in information. But this is where we left it off today. So wherever you are, whether you picked up the sword or you weren't quite sure of picking up the sword yet, I'm sending you many blessings. I want to remind you that May is jam-packed with so many amazing events, 2 in person and several others virtual. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, that is the best way to keep up to date with those events. I will be here next week for our next episode. And it's just always such a delight to connect with you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your courage and your just your heroic human journey. If there's anything you want to share in the chat, please feel free to do that. And I'm just going to pull a priestess card for everyone here and everyone who's watching the replay. I'm just going to pull one card. And I hope you have an amazing time on Friday. I invite you to take some time, even 5 minutes, to do a little ceremony. You're welcome, Summer. To do a little ceremony, a little ritual to receive the blessings of that full moon lunar eclipse and to release, right? Release. So much of this journey of fulfilling our sacred mission is releasing. All right. What's the message from our soul? Final message as we are getting ready to leave. Oh my gosh. I love this. Brilliant beliefs. I know I say this all the time, but I'm going to say this again. I've never seen this card. I don't know how that happens. Brilliant beliefs, luminous life force, personal power. Look at this. That's so amazing because when I was saying, a lot of it is releasing. Oh my gosh, this has been a long transmission. I just saw that. We're releasing old beliefs, but look at this. It's saying brilliant beliefs. You're receiving your brilliant beliefs. Connect with that. What are those brilliant beliefs? And remember, where do those brilliant beliefs come from? Your own beautiful soul. That's where they come from. That's why we release the old, outdated, old programming to make space for those brilliant beliefs. And for those of you who are asking, Priestess of the Light Oracle, that's where this card is from. All right. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you next week and can't wait to connect again. Bye, everyone.